And welcome back to Music Free Static. Hope you're having a fabulous day. And today I thought it would be fun to dive into reading and how our tastes change and stuff. And to do that, I thought I would bring on the most wonderful and amazing person I know. My wife is joining me today for the first time ever. Absolutely, positively, the first time we're recording this is absolutely not the second time we've had to record this episode. And so technical difficulties are fun, but let's get into this because reading is awesome. And this is one of the things that we have in common. And it's one of the things, we're a couple of introverts, and this is one of those great things like, hey, we can read separately, but together or something, right? So let's start then. What got you into reading?
Well, when I was young, my parents were divorced, and every summer I would go visit my dad, and the library up there had a summer reading program, and they would have rewards, I guess you could say. You'd read
Right.
so many books, and then you get a certain reward. Things like tickets to the local pool, or movie tickets, or just something like that. Things that I thought, oh, that was fun. I can get free stuff. So I'll go read.
Right.
And I wasn't too awful interested in reading at that point. I was more interested in the reward
Yes.
because that's the way I am.
Yep, that's fair.
And so I would go and I would read these books for a reward. But what really got me liking reading was they would only allow in this program up to a certain age or a grade or whatever where you could just read the kids' books,
Right.
which I did. I would read them. I read quickly. I would get through them to get to the reward, but I really wasn't that interested.
Right.
And then as I aged out of those kids' books, I was looking for something. I had to get into the young adult, older readers, kind of not young adult, I guess, just older readers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to read some of those, and I was just like, I don't want to do this, and what can I read? I don't know. And my stepmom made some suggestions to me. She suggested Trumpet of the Swan,
Okay.
which I read very reluctantly until I got about halfway in and it got interesting. And I loved it. And I read that, and she suggested then Charlotte's Web, which I read, and Stuart Little, and I can't remember what else. What's the name of Secret Garden.
Secret Garden, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
The Secret Garden. And so I started reading those, and then I got into the Nancy Drew books, and those were interesting. So I found plenty to keep me reading and still getting that reward. But from then on, reading was its own reward, which I'm sure was part of their point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, is right, to help build this love of reading. Yeah, because I started, of course, my dad, because he wasn't around a lot because he had to work and stuff, he recorded him reading, like the Berenstain Bears and Dr. Seuss and, all of those types of things. And I'd play him back on my tape recorder and read. But then I got into books like Black Beauty, or not Black Beauty, the Black Stallion, and that series of books, and the Hardy Boys, and I don't know what, all bunch of those, that level. Same thing. Nancy Drew, read some of those. Said I was more into the Hardy Boys, but I did like the crossovers they had once in a while. Right. So I was reading a bunch of those, and then I probably was reading a handful of other things. I don't remember. Of course, the Hardy Boys, there's like 1,000 books in that series, so I read a bunch of those. But obviously, as I got older, I got into different things. But what genres were you getting into? Right, you've read Trumpet of the Swan and Secret Garden, but now you're getting older. You're aging out of the rewards programs. What are you into?
For a while, there was this book about a ballet dancer that my mom got me
Mhm.
that I read. I don't even remember what it was called. I just wanted to do ballet when I was little. And so that kind of spoke to the little girl in me.
Right.
Um, there were a few other little books, but I was not super interested in those. I really always did like the longer stories, even when I was in the summer reading program when little and reading those little thin books, I wasn't interested because I wanted something more involved. Um, but I hadn't discovered series. I didn't discover series till I was an adult.
Right.
Um, but I did get into the romances when I was an older teenager, like 15, 16, 17 years old,
Sure.
because my stepmom had encouraged me to go into the young adult section or even into the adult section.
Okay.
But I didn't know how to pick good books, and those were on one of those twirly
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, okay, this has pretty colors. And so then I started reading it, and I got into the romances because, let's face it, I was 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, and what are teens interested in?
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah, so that's what I got into. After a while, they all became very much the same, and so I kind of got tired of it.
mm-hmm.
But not until I was in my probably early 20s did I really get tired of that.
Yeah, cause I remember when we were first dating and first married, you were reading, it was like Nora Roberts
Mm-hmm.
and um,
Can't
I can't
remember the
remember,
other.
there was somebody else. I remember those ones. That's a weird, because I didn't get into the smutty romances myself. I was reading Tom Clancy, and my mom was feeding me stacks of primarily fantasy, but some sci-fi as well. Um, and actually, we had when I was in junior high, I think we actually ended up having a section on science fiction, which I thought was really cool in an English class. Like, here's literature I actually like. And we read a lot of Asimov and Ray Bradbury, and we read the script to Trouble with Tribbles. I had to teach my teacher how to pronounce Quadrotriticale. Because, obviously she didn't watch Star Trek,
I can't imagine why. I like
English
Star
professor.
Trek.
Why not, right? But yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, but I was all about, because I wanted to be a fighter pilot when I was in middle school and into high school. So I was all about Clancy, which had all the military stuff. And, I had a couple of others that I read that were not nearly as good. um, so yeah, it's kind of fun to look back and it's like, what was I into and why did I even like those?
Well, I know why I was interested in those smutty romances. I
Mm-hmm.
was not super accepted in school, and so I considered, I guess, having a boyfriend and being in a relationship as like the epitome of somebody else likes me.
Ah,
And so I
yes.
was reading those as kind of a way to, I guess, fulfill that.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's not that I've aged out of those things because I do enjoy some of them. I still have a few that I really liked the story,
Right.
but I don't, I have that need fulfilled in my life now. And so I don't need it through my reading.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, how have your tastes changed now as you've gotten older?
I tend to not like those cheap romances as much anymore because they are cheap and they all tend to be very much the same.
Right.
Um, I I don't have any one genre that I like, but I do tend to like the younger audiences things
Mm-hmm.
because the adult stuff tends to get too not heavy, not really the word I want. Um too adult. too
Yeah.
violent or too just
The
I want something when I'm reading, I want something that's going to make me feel good
right.
and not in a, pleasurable sort of way, but in a that was nice or
Something uplifting.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Something uplifting.
Yeah, I've run into that some of the adult fiction I've read that either gets profanity laden, which now
There's
unless
no
it's The
need.
Martian, which for somehow gets away with it, right?
I love that book. It's so good.
The Martian is so amazing. Um, or they delve into the sex, and you know it's one thing if I pick up a smutty romance, right? I know what I'm getting into. If I'm picking up, oh, this is a really cool fantasy story, and it turns into a bodice ripper, it's like, okay, can we just back to the fun stuff now?
Yeah, I'm more interested in the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the romances that I have kept and that I do read over, well, not over and over again, but I have read multiple times.
Yeah.
I like the story. Those are the ones that I keep. And even in the ones that I have now, which admittedly I have a lot of fantasy these days, but I
Mm-hmm.
have other things as well. I like the story.
Right.
I want a well built world. I want well built characters with some realism in them, not just, oh, this person's all good and you never see any horribleness about them. I want something real that can
Right.
speak to me as a person, that maybe can give me a little bit of a path to becoming a better person myself,
Okay.
which sounds all high and mighty, especially considering what books are on my shelf. But
Right. Well,
but that they do that for me.
sure. Well, it's one thing to look back at something like The Hunger Games, which I know you like. I can't stand the books because I don't like any of the characters, but they are flawed. I guess real would be a way to think about them. You know,
Pete is
'cause-
the only character I really like in those books,
yeah,
but
I
I
guess that's
like the
true.
story because I like the psychology of it.
Right.
Psychology is fascinating to me. It's just, I mean, I could talk forever about it, but but the psychology of it is that I like is I can see how people can get to that point, both from both sides. I can see the
Right.
Capitol's view of it, how they can how people get to that point of not really caring about other people, not really seeing other people, or even the President Snow, how he can justify the treatment of the people in the districts. I get it. People can get there. I understand how he gets there. I don't like him, and certainly what he's doing isn't right, but I
Right.
can understand it. It's real.
Yeah.
I can understand Katniss, even though she's just an awful person who doesn't deserve PETA at all. I can understand her point of view. It makes sense to me, and it's real.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, there are a few times I like having the. There are sometimes I like having the character who is like, I don't know, maybe the perfect goody two shoes might be going a little far, but they're really good. But then throwing them into a situation where their morals really get tested.
The Host is like that by
Okay.
Stephanie Meyer. Yeah, she comes from this perfect society that everyone's all doing everything for the good of everybody else, very altruistic sort of society.
Mhm.
And she's thrown into human nature. And
Okay.
it's very interesting to see how she handles that and how she changes over time. I really like that too. Again, I think it's the psychology of it that's just fascinating.
Sure. Yeah, it is fun to dive into some of that. It's like, how would you deal with that? It's one of the things they mention it a couple times within in Harry Potter that Harry, right, he comes from having grown up with the Dursleys, who are abusive in just about every way. And the fact that he comes out relatively normal and generous and kind, is actually kind of cool to see. And those are interesting too, talking about flawed characters, because there's Harry, who gets jealous and protective, and and of course he goes through all sorts of horribleness at the end of the fourth book, right? What's the title of that one? The Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah.
The Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, Goblet of Fire.
Right. And so in the Order of the Phoenix, he's biting everyone's head off for, maybe he's being a little oversensitive, but he just went through a really traumatic experience.
Yeah, and then feeling what Voldemort's feeling there, having that influence inside of him. I get it. I understand. Makes him a little bit more real, in my opinion.
Yep.
But he's not this goody two-shoes either, always following the rules.
Right.
Or always doing what's right. Sometimes he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. But even that world and the characters are very, very well built. There are very few holes that can't be explained away in some way.
Right. Yeah, up to a point. Because they said once you start getting out of into the internet era of what would the wizarding world look like, it's like, yep.
That's going to change.
Yes. The Muggles are inventing Wizarding Google, because there is no way they are going to manually search that library.
Yes.
Right.
But given this, when she first started writing it, the internet really wasn't too much of a thing at that point.
No.
So it makes sense for when it was written.
And it's interesting too. You look at something like Lord of the Rings, and Samwise is a good guy. He's one of those people. He's just a generally good, positive person, and he is the hero of that book and that series in a lot of ways, because without him, Frodo doesn't make it to the end. And he says, I can't carry the ring for you, but I can carry you. Right? He's like, dude, I want a friend like that. Right?
Yes.
It's like, that's cool. That's something to strive for, right?
Mm-hmm. What, to have a friend like that, or to be a friend like that?
Actually, probably both.
Okay, fair.
I want to be a person who can have a friend like that, right? Now, it doesn't mean I have to hire him as my gardener.
We can hire a gardener. That'd be all right.
Oh, you get tired of mowing the lawn and cleaning up after the deer. But,
yes.
Oh, man. So, yeah, because there's a bunch of those series, though, that's fun. It's like Fablehaven is one of those series that
I really like that one.
Yeah. And it's one I can't read very often, because it's a fantasy world, right? Fablehaven is a sanctuary for fantastic animals and fairies and centaurs and all this fun stuff, right? But
it's heavy.
The consequences are real.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it interesting.
But it's one I like because, again, you have a well-built world, well-built characters with some realness to them, especially Seth,
right?
Who lets in the demons and then messes everything up on Midsummer's Eve or whatever it is. And
yep.
Yeah. And then you feel for Kendra, who it's just like, can you just get it through your head that you can't do things like that?
Right.
And yet there's a place for Seth, especially in the last book when he goes off on this adventure to get seemingly impossible adventure, and it's his bravery and maybe stupidity to some degree that helps him to actually succeed, along with, of course, the people and satyrs that he surrounds himself with.
They're not the best influence on him, but they're definitely loyal.
Well, I don't know about loyal, but there is some loyalty to them.
As long as he'll get them batteries for TV, they are right there with him, right?
Or the fast food, that was good too for them too, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all about the fast food.
I think that's another thing I like in books too, is a little bit of downtime and humor that's put into it. It doesn't even have to be humorous.
Right.
But you got to have some lightheartedness in it as well. Otherwise, it's just all heavy and yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have a hard time reading Lord of the Rings sometimes, because there's very little of that lightheartedness to it.
That's true.
That's where I like the movies a little bit. I don't know that I like the movies better, but the movies have some of that lightheartedness in it that the books don't necessarily.
But
the books are beautiful. The language,
yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. And there are certainly times I'll reread Lord of the Rings, like maybe I'll skip the poetry this time. But I can never get over Tolkien's use of language as he describes things and builds his characters and all that fun stuff. And speaking of Lord of the Rings, that's my favorite series. What's yours?
I have favorites.
Okay.
I don't have any one favorite. I have a variety of favorites that I just kind of cycle through, because I can't choose one. It's a matter of the one that it's my favorite in the moment is the one I'm in the mood for.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because sometimes I'm just in the mood for a smutty romance. And then the one that I'm in the mood for, that smutty romance, is like, it just hits the spot. That's my favorite right then.
Okay.
But then I read it and I'm over it, and then I want something else, and so then I go on to something else, and that's my favorite in that moment. It's very highly dependent on how I feel.
Okay, that's fair.
But I have a variety of favorites, and those ones I read over and over and over again.
Harry Potter.
Yes,
example.
Harry Potter I read several times.
Yes.
Actually, everything on my book I've read several times, or on my bookshelf I've read several times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was... Yeah, Potter was one of those... Because I remember you weren't real keen to get into it initially. And then...
Not much.
After the seventh book came out, and I was stupid and read the whole thing in one night.
And then only remembered half of it.
Yeah. Harry's hallucination or dream or whatever with Dumbledore at the end, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at 1 a.m. when you're sleep deprived.
I thought you read that at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Because
Probably.
you were up pretty much all night.
Something like, yeah, it was stupid. But yeah, I remember then you got into Harry Potter. It's like, what was the 4th book? Sold it for you, right?
Yeah, the first 3 I kind of read and was like, okay, this is interesting enough. I'll keep reading. And then I got to the end of the 4th and was like, whoa, where's the next one? And then I kept reading, and I couldn't stop. It was so good.
Right. Yeah, because it really ramps up after Harry hits the graveyard and after the tournament.
And the movies just never did it justice.
No.
I'd seen the first 2 movies at that point and was like, It's just, I don't even understand half of what's going on. I had to read the books to really get it.
Yeah. The movies look great, but they don't. I think the 3rd movie might be the exception, but most of them don't really translate the story well.
Yeah. The 4th movie was pretty decent too, but then again, there's not a huge amount in the 4th book.
Yeah, the 4th
other than the graveyard, which the movie just didn't do that justice.
No, there's a lot that they were able to condense in The Goblet of Fire. And The Prisoner of Azkaban, I think they did a pretty good job of actually translating the story Unlike the first two books where they just kind of, we're going to lift scene by scene by scene verbatim and kind of hope they sort of make sense.
And they didn't.
Not so much. But they looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they translated the visuals of the world beautifully. But yeah, the story-wise, wasn't great. So what else do you like to go back to over and over, aside from Potter?
Of course, Fablehaven, but again, I can't read that super often.
Right.
If I'm in the mood for something light and easy to read, but will last forever, then Keeper of the Lost Cities is good because it's like whole bunches of books at this point.
Right.
But it's light, it's easy to get through. I don't have to worry about, okay, I've stopped in the middle of the page for some reason, and I can pick it up, and I know exactly where I was at.
Right.
That's really nice. I really like the Lunar Chronicles.
Oh yes.
That one is good. That one is so fun.
That one caught me by surprise, and I don't know why. It's like, I don't know if I because when I read Cinder, and I don't know if when I read it I was expecting it to be Cinderella or not, but it is. It's an adaptation of Cinderella into sci-fi, right? Instead of
Which sounds dumb, but it's good.
It's amazing, right? Instead of a glass slipper, it's a cybernetic foot that she has lost, right? Which again sounds weird, but it works out. It's great. Actually, I need to reread those. But
so do I.
Rapunzel's not trapped in a tower; she's trapped in a space station.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Satellite. I think.
Satellite. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That one's good.
Yeah.
You can see the fairy tale in them, and it's kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
But there's also a little romance in it. I mean, it's just a little bit of a lot of things.
I don't know why, because it seems really obvious after Snow White gets put to sleep in a stasis tube, right? It's like, well, duh, science fiction, of course, yes.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
So,
yep.
Oh yeah, that is a good series, man. I haven't read that one in forever, though. I really do need to reread that.
It's been a little while since I read it too. I need to reread it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that one. I like the Five Kingdoms. That one's again a little bit more geared toward younger audiences.
Right.
And it's not as good as Fablehaven, but it's not as heavy as Fablehaven either.
Right.
And so I really like that. Also, Beyonders, same author. All three of those.
Right. Yeah.
Beyonders is a little bit more heavy, but it's also very good. And a couple of the characters from Beyonders show up in the Five Kingdoms, which is kind of fun.
Oh, right. Yeah. Shared universes are cool like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all. Was it Brandon Mull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried the Five Kingdoms, and after the second book, it's like, no, this isn't working for me.
That's because the second book is just a little bit boring.
Yeah.
But it's interesting after that. You need to reread them and get through the second book. Just go into the second book knowing it's going to be boring, and then go on.
Okay.
It's good.
I may have to, because I've heard you and the kids rave about the later books in the series.
Yeah.
But the second one was, I can deal with predictable in a story, but it was predictable and boring. And at that point, it's like, can we just get there already?
Yeah, I have a hard time, even having read them multiple times, getting through the second one. But once I'm through the second one, it's interesting. The Third Kingdom is just, it's right up your alley. It is tech oriented. The battle suit is amazing. I want one.
Okay.
And I'm just a lot of the tech in it is so much fun. And there is still that predictability to it, but it's still fun. The fourth one's just a little bit creepy, but it's also very good. The fifth one always makes me cry.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And it probably wouldn't make other people cry, but it's my own issues, and it just speaks right to those issues that I have, and it just does it for me. But it's still pretty good.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it's every once in a while you find one of those books that just, yep, it hits you right in the your own personal feels.
Hits me in my traumas.
Oh, okay. That too. Cool. So, what would you recommend? Now, we've talked about lots of books. If you had to recommend a book or a series or a couple, what would you recommend?
Well, I really like Book of 1,000 Days.
Okay.
It's right. What's this one? Shannon Hale.
Okay.
It's really thin. It's a quick read. It's probably more of a girly book.
Okay.
But I actually think you would enjoy it too because you're a romantic.
True.
And it kind of speaks to that side. So yeah, that one's really good. It's there's a little bit of romance in it. There's a little bit of kind of a made up religion, I guess, which is
sure
part of the main characters. It's why she does things. But it's a lot of, you see the growth in her and the loyalty that she shows because of her beliefs.
Okay.
And eventually she says, I think my beliefs need to be altered, kind of thing. And I need to change. I need to get out of here. I know I promised that I would stay with this lady forever, but I just can't do it, and explains all of that. And then she gets caught, and eventually she ends up with her guy, and it's really sweet. But
right.
It's so good to see her personality. She's one of those that over time she grows flaws, I guess you could say it.
Sure.
Originally she has that very childlike innocence about her, and then it's like she's growing up and she sees ugliness in the world, right. Things that she never even imagined. People, the things in people that it never occurred to her was that way before. But she's loyal to a fault. She knows how to survive. She's strong. She's brave. It's just awesome.
Nice.
Like I said, it would probably speak to the romantic in you.
That's fair.
But it is a little bit more of a, I guess, targeted toward that feminine side, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
But it's very, very good.
Nice.
I don't know if there are any others. Because The Five Kingdoms is very much a boys type book.
Yes.
I'm not trying to stereotype, but it's maybe that's the way I see it in my head. I don't know. Who knows? But I really enjoy it.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely some. I could see that, especially after having read the first book. It is very much that sort of. The main character is what is he, like 12-year-old, something like that?
Something like that, 11 or 12.
11 or 12, yeah.
I don't know if I have any other real recommendations other than the ones we've already talked about. I really enjoy Unwanteds, but again, that's quite a bit young. Probably the youngest audience of the books that I read over and over is Unwanteds. But it's fun. That's a little bit of fantasy, magic, art.
Oh.
They use art as a conduit to their magic.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of fun. I read the what do you call it? The series that's built on that original series. What do you call that? I forget. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know.
But the series that's after that one, and it's not as good, not nearly as good, but it's still fun.
Interesting. Yeah, I read a series. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the Phase World series, something like that, by Pierce Anthony. And when you end up, they end up in this magical world, but everyone's magic works differently. So our main character, his magic happens through rhyme, but it also, the way the world works is you can only use a particular rhyme once, or
Oh, that would be hard.
phrase once. So you could rhyme cat and hat multiple times, but you can't do cat hat, and that's one spell, and then you can never use that again. You have to then, get longer and do whatever poetry. But there's another character that all of his magic is through music, and he's this phenomenal musician. So it's kind of fun when you have it sort of play out in those different ways of. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. We're going to have to do more of these because any chance I get to, spend time with my wife, silly,
Especially talking about things that we both enjoy.
Right? Because definitely books are one of those things that we sort of bonded over. Because
among other things.
Yes. I mean, yeah, we have different tastes. I mean, we're both sort of, I'm hardcore into fantasy and sci-fi, and you lean into it, but just the love of reading was definitely one of those things that we have in common, and it's so much fun. But yeah, for those of you watching at home, drop a comment on YouTube or on Spotify. Let us know what you're reading. What do you like? What's your favorite series? Because there's lots of great books out there. And subscribe, you know the drill. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.